brave once more, or one extra time. I'm happy.
Ew, so I have a lot of options, but somebody has Dispel Magic, right?
I do.
Okay. Do you guys want me to take Leomun's tiny hut so we have a safe place to sleep at all times?
That might be handy in the future.
Yeah.
Would Brynn even be willing to share it, though? Or are you just going to cast it for her to go outside?
So we'll have the hut for Brynn,
I'll
and the
share the
rest...
hut. Like, I mean, Solace could sleep in the hut primarily because it's Solace's hut, but Brynn, the stinky boys outside.
The stinky boys can sleep outside.
Stinky boys.
All right, are we all Gucci?
Mm-hmm.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. Okay.
Ooh, I could get sending though. Does anybody have sending? Sending's really good.
I wanted to prepare it. I also wanted to have sending, but I had to choose between that or Dispel Magic.
Oh well, yeah. So sending or Leomun's tiny hut. Vote.
We don't really have anybody to send to yet.
Well,
I would say the hut at this
when we're
point.
separated.
Yeah.
But yeah. We would send to each other.
That would be handy, but we've been okay so far.
We haven't lost anyone ever and couldn't find them because they were in prison and had to go on a scavenger hunt to locate them, you know.
Oh yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try and when we sleep again and I have to prep spells, I'll take a look at what I can sacrifice.
See, I took Leomun's tiny hut though.
Yay!
Good to know.
Small tent.
Okie dokie. When we last left off, you had finally arrived in Ashenhurst after almost 4 days of travel. The journey, while a little harrowing at times, was overall successful. You've escorted your patron, Lord Calder, into the walls of the Scholar Settlement. In your wake, you leave some creatures you'd saved, and others who'd succumbed to the law of nature. You also leave the discovery of a campsite, aggressively raided, though you'd not found a body, and the bloodstains you'd found seemed to vanish and leave no trace. Now your carriage approaches the center of the settlement, where a large 3-story building wraps around a great tree that towers hundreds and hundreds of feet into the air and over your heads. The settlement itself seems quiet around you, even for mid-afternoon, but it's a quiet that feels peaceful. You approach the entrance to the tree-bordering building, and you are greeted by town guards, outfitted in simple leathers strapped over linens of green and brown. They stand a little straighter when you approach, and one takes a few steps to meet your carriage as it stops. Calder will exit then, adorned still in those patterns and clothes that herald more to a representative of the desert nation of Monocle. He steps onto solid ground and stands tall, opening his arms and smiling wide. Those of you outdoors or watching will notice recognition flit across the guard's face. He seems to stiffen up when he stands at attention. Lord Monaghan, I'm glad to see you've arrived safely. I hope your journey wasn't too perilous. And in that very laissez-faire tone, your lord responds, "Of course! 'Twas nothing my esteemed bodyguards couldn't handle." He gestures back at you with a grand sweep of one long arm. "Which, if you could be a darling and set them all up with rooms in the dormitory, it's been quite a few long days of camping, and I'm sure they all would delight in some time to unwind and clean up before dinner. Am I correct?" And he looks back to the carriage.
Yes.
That would be a fair assumption, yes.
Would be lovely, but should we not inform the guards of what we walked in on before we got here?
Don't worry, my dear. I will take care of that. I plan to see the headmistress immediately.
Headmistress?
Yes.
You'll have to pardon me, I've never been here. So I don't...
Clearly. Don't worry, you will learn a lot. So he goes to start walking past the guard, gives him a little pat on the shoulder, says, "Make sure the carriage and the horses are tended to. I will see the lot of you at dinner, and until then, good luck." And he vanishes inside the building.
I have so many questions.
So do we get off? Where do I take the horse and the carriage? I have also never been here before.
Once the Lord is gone, both of the guards kind of ease up a little bit, and one standing by the door still just gives a nervous little chuckle. The other one says, don't worry, we'll take care of that. If you just want to disembark and go with Jonas, I'll make sure the horses are put up.
Okay.
I'll catch something about the guards in that moment, and I'll lean over and say, just between me and you, because I don't know, we only just started working with this man a few days ago. What are y'all's impressions of the Lord Calder?
Make a persuasion check.
Guidance.
Hey, you want to gossip about the boss person we met 30 seconds ago?
I am petting the horses, but also side-eyeing the whole time.
We are best friends with
13.
them now.
A
I'm
13?
listening, but pretending not to be.
They exchange a look amongst each other and just kind of chuckle. And the one by your carriage who's helping to steer your horses... Oh, get back here. Steer your horses away, kind of shrugs and says, he's a strange man with strange mannerisms.
Sounds about par for the course.
Gathered in the last few days, so that checks out.
I'll admit it's been a while since he's come to visit, and we only received word of his coming a few days ago.
I see.
How many days exactly?
They exchange another look. 3 or 4, perhaps?
How long ago did he tell us that did he try to hire us? So wasn't it like 6 days at this point?
It was. He gave
That was
us 2
about
days.
4 days, 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
We only had
I
like
can't
2
remember
days
exactly
after
how.
we got the mission to wrap up everything we needed to do. So
Trying to figure out if he's like being sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh, he's absolutely being sneaky.
You know what I mean.
Well, if you have all of your belongings, I can escort you to a dorm.
That would
yes,
be lovely.
lead the way.
Thank
All
you
right.
for your hospitality.
Of course. And he'll lead you inside the doors to the building. And when you first enter, you are entering into a large entryway that seems to bisect a very long hall. To your left and right are stairs up to the second floor, and the hall is lit with a combination of the gray daylight filtering through the windows, as well as lanterns that float suspended in the air, nothing tethering them to the ceiling or the wall. The guard starts up the stairs to your left, waits a few seconds, and gestures for you to follow.
Following.
Also following.
Yeah.
As your party proceeds to climb the flight of stairs, you notice that the entire place seems a little hushed. There's not a lot of voices, and it feels like a very deliberate quiet. Even
Is
when
there-
the guard... Sorry?
Is there anybody like watching us? Anybody around?
Make a perception check.
21.
Okay. To your eyes, you have the guard that is leading you up another flight of stairs, up to the 3rd floor. But you don't see anybody else in the hallways.
Is a dormitory not meant for students?
It is, yes. And when he speaks and tells you guys to mind your steps while you're following, he's speaking very quietly.
It seems rather abandoned right now. Is it the students in class?
Yes, we are not actually at the dormitories yet. They're up on the 3rd floor, but most of the students are in session right now.
I see.
So you are led up to the 3rd floor, where the stairways ends, and you are escorted about 50 feet down a long, thin hallway that's lined on one side with portraits, awards, and accolades for and of various different people whose attire seems very varied. You are led past 2 doors before you are let into the third on your right-hand side. The room you enter first is a seating area with couches and lounge chairs that circle a low, round table in the middle of the room. Off to the right appears to be cupboards and shelves for storage, some already stacked with boxes and jars. Across the room and ahead of you is another doorway, and as you wander through and occupy this space, you discover that on the other side of it is another room, this one lined with 8 sets of bunk beds, a small but functioning fireplace, and empty bookshelves. Empty shelves for books and belongings. This dorm is currently unoccupied, so you are welcome to it during your stay. I'll leave you guys to get settled, and someone will be by in a couple hours to escort you down to the dining hall for dinner. Our headmistress was planning on giving an address tonight, and you might get a chance to meet her as the Lord Monahan's most honored guests.
Oh, that would be delightful.
Could I ask what your headmistress's name is?
You sure can. Just gotta scroll the fuck down. Yes, it's Headmistress Sanvi.
And I do have a question for you, because my understanding is that this is an academic town full of scholars and I assume that there's some sort of library of sorts.
Oh, we do have a library, yes.
Okay, we have a piece of architectural history with us, and I was wondering if you would know where we could go to look up some information.
A piece of history, like what?
Just a remnant from a ruin that we would like to learn more of.
I suppose if the headmistress is fine with it, you will be given free reign of the academy, as it were. But until I get that permission from her, I think it's best you remain here.
Yeah, understood.
All right. Well, if none of you need anything, I guess I'll be on my way.
Thank you again.
Of course. And he kind of straightens up a little bit and fixes how his leathers are sitting on him and wanders out like he just remembered he's kind of authority.
So what, are we to be kept to this room, by the sounds of it?
Yeah.
I think it is best we don't go wandering yet.
Sure, we'll learn more at dinner.
So you have some time. What are you doing?
Getting cleaned up for dinner, as instructed.
You are very quiet.
How do I turn it?
Getting cleaned up for dinner, as
There we go.
instructed.
Now you're very loud. No, okay.
So,
Oh my god! There's no pleasing you people!
You were just like super quiet. It was really hard to hear cute little Selways.
so now that we have a minute here, we're not fighting for our lives or running. On our watch between Brynn and I the other night, Calder made a proposition to us to offer to destroy the rock with the champion that we've been carrying with us.
I hear Calder made a proposition, and I kind of leaned forward, and then they said offer to destroy, and I was like, oh.
Yes, proposition to destroy the rock for us.
I personally turned him down.
I don't think that would be a very good idea either.
Why would it not be a good idea?
Well, never mind that Calder is shady as fuck. But who knows what could happen if that rock is destroyed. It may have a champion, perhaps.
I also do not think that a deity or a god will be particularly happy if we destroy their champion. Champions are pretty important sometimes.
Yes, I am in agreement with that. If we don't want it anymore, we should just wait until we next go back to Ormershire and return it and pretend we never found it. I don't know.
And then starts the undead armies again.
But that thing that came from, or so help me.
We are in a city of academics. If we don't want the burden anymore, we could just hand it over to someone else.
That was my first thought, was to at least get some more information, because we don't know what's going to happen if we hold on to it, and we don't know what's going to happen if we get rid of it.
You did leave out that when he offered about the stone beforehand, it had lit up once more and began to talk to us. And it had called thieves. Not necessarily us as thieves, it just said thieves.
I feel like it was probably talking about us, because we're the ones who took it.
No, I thought it meant the sword. Or whatever sword that belongs to it?
It is looking for something, and we kind of did more or less agree to help it, if I remember correctly.
Well, if you recall, when we went to the ruins, the sword was missing from its hand.
Did not.
I have slept since then.
There were the thieves, but I'm still worried that it might consider us the thief, considering we've had to fight it twice.
It doesn't add up, because we offered to help, and then it settled down, and it hasn't reacted since.
But
I wish
we don't know how much or how little a champion like this who's been trapped for centuries actually knows. Or how much it actually understands, what it forgets. We don't know anything. That's why I would like to learn more as soon as we can.
I do agree that we need to learn more.
Can I skim my book about gods in Celestial and see if there's anything in it?
Sure can. It's a pretty big book. What are you looking for?
Any mention of I don't know. Any mention of?
Once upon a time, we were told these gods' names.
We were. And I'm trying to look back and see.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I mean, to speed things along, anything mentioning the name of the god that we might have heard in relation to the stone? While I look to find out what that was, if we knew that at all.
I think you did. I'm just gonna.
We did. I'm just trying to find. I remember writing it down. I just gotta find where.
I believe a boisterous bard gave us this information once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I thought I had like all of them just listed somewhere. And now I'm like, that's not going so well.
Well, I have the name of the god of harvest and change. I don't have the one of the sun god.
Oh, hang on. There was Mioru, but I only have it at like the times on the clock. It was Mioru at 6 o'clock. Ryotza is that's the one of death, so it's not that one. Vaishki, Orum. Orum is the warrior. Vaishki, Aislinn, and Ulamin. That's what I've written down, but I don't know.
I have that also.
Huh.
So what are you consulting the book for?
I just want... Yeah, to...
Sorry?
It is a champion of the sun god. I do have that written down, I think. So just anything about the sun god? Do I know the sun god's name?
You might know the name, and after flipping through the book, you managed to find it. His name is Gizrain. I will write it down so that you can see the fuck-up spelling.
It's okay. I have Calder's name written down like 4 different ways in my notes. And
Yeah, same. I do as well.
Yep,
You should probably add that to the notes too. You should add that.
Well, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, she's written his name at some point, I think.
Yeah.
I
have written Gizrain down somewhere. I remember writing it, but
Yep.
Yeah.
You find a few pages about him, and they roughly detail that Gizrain is depicted as a tall, broad man with tan skin and golden hair. He has the avatar of the lion. He reigns as the god of the sun, of power, of energy, has agency over the domains of power, war, light, and life. And his constellation, which you would know, is the shape of a diamond in the sky, just above the east horizon. He's described as arrogant, bloodthirsty, but righteous. Never backs down from a fight, and sometimes to the point of going to look for one. He is said to have anointed 4 champions in his time on the Earth.
Does it say anything more about the champions?
It does. It lists... It lists 4 different deities. One named Nulgia, the child. Orin of the summer. Ulamin, the warrior. And somewhere over here.
Ulamin the what? I'm sorry?
The warrior.
The warrior. Okay, I did have that part down.
And Cladhia, the slighted.
So, we must be in possession of Ulamin.
Could also be Cladhia.
Yeah, I was thinking Claudia.
The slight.
Bad.
Are there any pictures in the book? Anything drawn?
Are there any pictures, or is it?
Mostly symbols. Various depictions of the sun. Rough sketched drawings of the constellations that represent them. You do notice that Claudia doesn't have a constellation.
Maybe that means it is Claudia. Because if all the other ones have a constellation, maybe that means they're like up in the divine thing. Blah, blah, blah.
In the divine thing.
They're in the heavens as opposed to on the earthly plane.
Yeah, that's what
we certainly look a touch off-put by some things that we've read. But we will relay all of that information. Yeah, definitely. But we will relay all of that information. We just read it out loud, I guess.
Perhaps
does the
we're
symbol on
dealing.
the stone match like just the sun god in general, or does it match any symbols that are next to the champions' names?
You might be able to compare the shape of the stone to some of the sketches of a sun symbol.
Okay, so it just relates to the sun god in general.
Seems that way.
If we destroy a champion of the sun god, I am almost certain we will face some sort of bad in the future.
I do also worry about that myself.
Me as well.
Okay, so it is decided, and we won't destroy it.
I also do not think we should give it to Cowder. Do not think. I heard that from someone else's mic, and it sounded like I said we should.
Perhaps it's growing impatient with the fact that we haven't yet begun to help it search for its sword.
That is
Well,
also what
this
I
was-
was thinking.
This could be the first step if we are allowed access to the library.
We did take it from the city in which... Oh, rather, sorry, I took it from the city in which we originally made... originally were looking for its sword.
Although
I we made a promise, but I made...
I must say, I mean, this is just a theory, but I don't think it was the stone causing the undead. I imagine that was Klaus.
The source was from it.
I don't believe the stone did it, though.
It was from the area that the source of the mist was coming from.
But that was also just a giant tomb, essentially.
Yeah, that housed the champion.
Maybe the theft of the sword is what broke the undead.
But then why did the undead stop coming after they took the sword? They brought the stone out of the...
Because you promised you'd help.
And Klaus also ran away.
Then wouldn't that mean that the
after.
champion... But wouldn't that mean that the champion's at fault?
But Klaus ran away out of town as soon as we brought the stone out of the tomb.
He ran out of town because the woman appeared and pointed at the stage in which he was close to, saying thieves, and then we had to talk her down.
Yes, but then he left and there was nothing after that of undead.
We can't know for certain where what came from at this point. We can speculate, yes. Both seem reasonable to me. But I don't know, at this point we have an angry lady in a rock, and we don't know where Klaus is, we don't know anything.
What a terrible fate to be a god's favorite, though.
To be stuck in a rock.
Forced to be a servant to them for the rest of eternity, trapped in a rock in a tomb.
It sure does sound terrible, I say, slamming my book shut, throwing it down.
I do also side-eye the harp in my bag, and then,
And watching people react, I'm just like... Seems like there might be something going on here.
Are you petting a cat? Is that why you're on the floor?
No, I'm doing my toenails. I didn't realize how bad they were when I got a shower. I was like,
That's
I
fair.
need to... Yeah.
It's good to do that after a shower.
Solace is getting ready for dinner. She's cleaning up.
We're all just sitting on our bunk beds doing our respective things. But, I don't know, I guess we should try to see what more we can learn. We are in a good place for learning. So they say. I don't actually know, but so they say.
And maybe while we're in the city, we can find something to open these boxes with.
I may be able to assist with that.
With opening the boxes.
Yes. I don't know, I've just been feeling a little bit stronger lately, and I do feel guided, and I do think that I might be able to try. I can't make any promises, but I might be able to try.
Do we want to... Go. No, someone else go. Do we want to try here, or do we want to wait till we're not in a dormitory in a city?
We're either gonna try to open that box, or I'm gonna take a nap, but I am okay with either option.
I could do either of those things, yes.
I think that we should wait.
And open the box.
I think we should wait.
It is your box.
Those boxes are mine.
I am fine with waiting, but what do you think we should wait for? If we will be back on the road with with Calder after this?
I don't know that we have any reason to be back on the road with Calder, but we also don't know.
Hang out for fun, obviously.
We could just hang out for fun. I have an inkling from God that we should just hang out for fun.
Definitely the sexual tension.
The sexual tension. Sorry,
is
what?
anyone good at drawing?
I can draw. I draw a lot.
All right. Well, as it was said, we are in a city of scholars, so perhaps instead of showing people the boxes, you could sketch the symbols on the top, and we could reaffirm some things that we know.
So when I say I'm good at drawing, Darby draws a lot and sketches a lot. He does not have the skills for drawing, but they like to draw a lot. But they will try.
Fairly good at performance.
I'm good at
I would assume performance seems like the most likely.
Well, if you want to try, you could draw one of the box that I carry and one of the box that you carry.
I will give it a go. Does anyone have any paper or a pen? I can do it on leather also, but...
I will...
Or either are.
I would have those things.
We all pull out paper and
journal.
Darby realizes that they're the only one that is non-prepared.
I don't have paper. I don't have paper.
I just buy it in town and send the letters anyway, thank you. And I will take a piece of paper and a pen, and I will attempt to draw just the symbols on the boxes, or the whole box and everything.
Perhaps just the symbols for now, and if we need to mention that they're in box form, maybe.
Okay.
I just don't want to give away that we have the boxes, considering they're a sought-after commodity.
Very fair. Okay. I will just draw the symbols, but I do them like constellations, so there's lots of little points, and then I just kind of connect the dots.
Make a performance check.
Guidance!
Oh boy. Am I guidance? Okay, what is
Your
that?
guidance.
Okay, I can add a d4. Excellent. Oh boy. So that is just a straight 15. I am going to roll a d. And I got a 4 for 19.
Yay.
So
that's me looking over your shoulder, trying to like point out things to kind of...
No, you're doing it wrong. No, it's not there.
God.
It is a deeply upsetting process for me. But
no, it's not. She's there just gently being like, no, she's not being like, no, you're fucking doing it wrong. God.
We're bonding while drawing.
She's sitting next to you, and she's just gently being like,
So with your stippling constellation method, you managed to recreate pretty solid imagery of the tree and the goat that are on the faces of your boxes.
Didn't the champion ask us to open the box? We don't know what box, but the champion said open the box.
I don't remember. I have slept since then, so it's not as clear. Let me think about it for a minute while I look back on my notes.
To be the thing all the time. I don't remember because I've slept.
In our defense, that was like 4 months ago.
No, it was a long time ago. I remember them
before Christmas break.
Just to like, I remember that they were in the the study room, and then like Relm aggressively went over and went door closed, and then Vaughn went to try and sweet talk the stone into talking to us, and then the only thing that she had to say to him was open the box. It just, when we asked what box, she said no.
Like, do we always do things that mysterious entities of unknown origin tell us?
No, I just wanted to bring up something that also possibly revolved around the boxes as well.
I am going to... Sorry, I'm just remembering a lot of things all of a sudden.
Hold on. So opening a box because they said so is problematic, but promising them to solve grand thievery and whatever else is going on with the bigger scale of this isn't too much?
I am going to also, in my downtime, without really mentioning it, I'm going to look up Ryotza and Misaki in my book.
Okay.
As well.
Are you sharing this information or are you just keeping it to yourself?
I'm just going to quietly read it while everyone is discussing what is happening with the box and the thing wanting us to open the box.
Okay.
I think our main goal right now is we're going to ask about some information on the stone and the champion, and then we will ask about the boxes or the symbols on the boxes. I think that's the first thing that we're going to do.
I just found just rain in my notes.
I just think we should try to learn more. And not. I say this while just like.
I think it would probably behoove us to learn more about Calder as well.
From who?
This seems to be a city that knows him well. Somebody
We
here
just
has
have
to
to-
share something about him. And I would like to know why he got so fussy at the beginning of the town. Even before. Certainly
He
wasn't
did
his normal.
I mean, we did kind of sidetrack a lot. For things, maybe he was just annoyed.
Which I do want to ask that perhaps in future endeavors we don't run after animals.
I will not ignore an animal in distress, and I am sorry that I cannot do that. Like a bear stuck in a trap. I can't ignore that. You can leave me there, it's fine, but I can't.
I'm
I
not
can't
going
do
to
that.
leave you there. That's fine, I understand. It's just... I don't know, it's just nature has a way of things, and we can't always jump in.
Why? They're animals too.
I am. If we can prevent a death, I think that we should. That is what I think.
But in the law of nature, how do you decide which side you want to be on?
In the laws of nature, if you're a hunter and you leave your trap unattended and let an animal suffer in it, then you're a bad hunter. And in the laws of nature, if I see a baby animal being carried off by a predator and I could stop that from happening, I will try. It may not go well, but I will try.
So what is it that those dogs, I think they were, those wolves, what is it that they would be eating?
Prey animals, probably, as is the law of nature.
So if they ran by with something in their mouth, you would stop them as well?
If it was a baby.
My point
I may stop.
My point is, I am not as connected to nature as the rest of you. But it also worries me to see you running into danger like that. Trying to stop something that's most likely happening under your nose anyway.
Sure, you could make the same argument for everything happening with the undead and the stone and everything else. We could also turn a blind eye to that and ignore it. But we don't.
Very well. I just wanted to say my piece on this. All I ask is if you all could just be more careful. Please.
I will try to be more careful.
Now, if you would all like to rest and do what you need to do, I'm also going to take a moment to relax under a roof.
And also, let's keep in mind that Calder hasn't paid us yet. So let's avoid being aggressively suspicious until after that, please.
Alright, well, I am going to feed my bird. And then... and then I'm going to crawl into a bunk bed and sleep for a little bit.
You take a top bunk or a bottom one? Just curious.
A top one. Is this an industry?
There's like a sitting room, right?
No. No.
I had to get it out.
It's a personality thing. It's
I was gonna say Solace takes a bottom bunk, but now I don't want to voice an opinion.
I'm sorry, that's just where my brain
You made it weird.
I know.
That's Ethan's job to make it weird. Yeah, you are. No.
Bottom one.
Hey, yo.
Van would take a bottom bunk, be honest.
Stop it. Now you're making it weird.
Either bug, to be honest with you.
We're all making it weird.
I'm going to string up a hammock between two bunk beds and sleep in there.
I love it.
There's a sitting room, like, nearby, right? Like a little small
Yes.
sitting area?
The main room is mostly seating.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the main room, and I'm gonna find a seat there by myself.
Okay.
There's no other rooms that... I'm sorry. Please go. Go.
I was just gonna say, like, just based on the size of this room, it is a dormitory. So the main room is very large. It's mostly seating, some tables. And judging by the number of beds in the bedroom, this can host up to 16 people.
Wow. I'm gonna tuck myself off into the corner of said room somewhere, because I know that people are most likely going to be coming back soon, and dread how fucking familiar this is. But I'm also gonna pull out my harp. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna wrap it around my chest, and I'm gonna close my eyes, and I'm just gonna whisper some things to it in Undercommon. Okay. Just pray to my goddess.
Okay. Is there any really big window, either inside the dorm or in the sitting room, or even right outside, like in the hallway?
The hallway, when you passed it, mostly seemed to have very small windows scattered in with the portraits and accolades. The room itself is largely windowless, except for a decently sized one at the end of the bedroom. And it looks towards the bark of the great tree in the middle of the building, essentially.
I'm gonna go sit there and pull out my diary and just spend the next little while writing in it.
Okay. The rest of you are all resting?
Yeah.
After cleaning up.
Mm-hmm. Painting your toes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's important.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying to ignore my spiking blood pressure as Brome gets closer to a window.
Okay. So a couple hours pass uneventful. It gives you time to talk amongst yourselves, discuss what had happened, and then time to process everything on your own. Towards the end of those 2 hours, as the sun is beginning to sink below the horizon, there comes a knock at the door, and the same guard that escorted you up is waiting.
Well,
I
they're
can't
gonna...
answer the door. I need to put on clothes.
I will answer the door.
You nap naked too?
I mean,
apparently this isn't the lore I established. I'm just following the precedent.
So Darby, you open the door to the guard from downstairs, who smiles a little bit awkwardly and says, the headmistress will be giving her address soon, and they're getting ready to serve in the dining hall. If you guys are hungry.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much for telling me.
Of course, if you'll just follow me, I'll take you there.
All right, and I will turn back into the room and just yell, dinner time, and then I leave.
I'm still out in the sitting room, so I probably saw him walk by, and then now I'm just waiting for everybody.
I'm gonna follow Darby out, but, you know, this thing is staying on. We're going near people.
So, as you all file out, he takes you not back towards the first flight of stairs, but further down the hall, and you pass probably about 3 more doors, which you can estimate hide other dormitories like the one you were given. You round a corner and continue down the hall, at the end of which there's another 2 flights of stairs, and he leads you down both. At the bottom of the stairs, he begins to lead you through what is a very short hallway to a set of double doors that open to a large room back on the first floor. And judging by where you had moved within this building, you can guess it's located somewhere near the back corner. The room reaches up all 3 stories and is lit primarily by a large floating chandelier made up of giant antlers and floating pinpricks of flame. There are 6 sets of long tables, each with a number of chairs scattered around them, and not at all configured into any kind of order. People are starting to filter into the hall from an additional door not too far from yours, as well as moving around your group to enter. It becomes clear why the configuration of the chairs might be scattered. Some groups sit in places where those chairs are already grouped together. Some sit alone, or drag a couple together so that they can sit in pairs. There's still about a quarter of the seats available, as you guys set about finding a table with chairs enough for your whole group. Is there anything you're doing or saying?
What are the different types of races? Is there a dominant race over the others, or is there just a pleasant mixture of them all?
It seems largely human.
Okay.
So, you take your seats and watch more people filter through the doors, doing the same, finding seats that accommodate either themselves or the small group they're moving with. It does seem to be largely humanoids or human adjacent. Difficult to pick out if anything is really half something. Everybody looks humanish.
I'm visibly uncomfortable.
Behind the majority of the groups will follow a small procession of people. One that cuts through the center of the 6 tables. Difficult to get a good look at them through the crowd because they move quick and with purpose to a long table set up perpendicular at the front of the room. They go to take seats. In this group, you see some young-looking humans near the back of that pack take seats on the ends of the table. Near the center, you recognize Calder, taking a seat in his patterned robes with a winning smile. You also notice a large, square-jawed man with very dark skin, intense eyes, and a cleanly shaven head. He sits in an ornate, red, rich robe, and you can see him sweep his eyes over the room. They pass over your group, and they seem to linger. He stares deliberately at you for a few minutes before he leans over to the person next to him and whispers something. That person in question will pull back her chair, the one located in the center of the table, and instead of taking her seat, she climbs on top of it. She wears robes of mismatched patterns, quilted together in a way that looks very handmade. Her pointed witch's hat shares a similar craft, and even stood on the table, she seems very short, no more than 5 or so feet in height. She has short, wavy brown hair that comes down to her shoulders, and it looks a little wet. She has fine, pale features, but large, striking, watery blue eyes. When she smiles, it looks a little timid and shy, but it is still warm and kind, and she takes the time to look over everyone. She spots your group, and you see confusion flicker over her face. She hesitates, looking a little confused. Then all the doors and windows click shut, and the lights flicker a little brighter. I want to emphasize that the person standing on this chair is the spitting image of Solace.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We just look. I imagine we're sitting next to Solace, and we just look over at her.
Yeah, she's definitely having a pretty strong reaction.
She opens her arms wide and says, "Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you again. And welcome to those of you who are joining us new, passing through or visiting old friends." And her eyes cut to Calder and she smiles again. "I'll try to keep this short while the staff fill the buffet table. We've received word from Ormershire that there's been an incident. There may be a murderer with a potential magical prowess on the loose in our kingdom. Now, I know this will mean our academy will be scrutinized in the coming weeks, and we may have to comply with the Kingsguard and answer some questions that they may have." And you begin to hear dissent rising up from the people in their seats, mostly muttering amongst themselves, but you can hear some raising their voices to try and shout and address, asking things like, "Well, what did they do? What do we know about them?" The woman at the front tries to fan down the chatter, and when it's quiet enough, she speaks again. And though her tone is quiet and gentle, her voice is very clear and loud. Well, I haven't gotten all of the details yet, but the good Ambassador Monaghan has brought the people who are on the forefront of the investigation, and we're hoping we might persuade them to share some of their experiences with us. But not now. I just wanted you all to be aware of the situation as it develops, and should anything happen before we have the opportunity to learn, that nothing catches you by surprise. There's more chatter, uncertain, and you can now see that those of you, those sitting around you, are now cutting their eyes towards your table and looking somewhere between confused and some wary. Like I said, we'll have more answers for all of you soon. I just wanted to take a moment to say hi and welcome you all to dinner and say what an honor it is to have the good ambassador and the newly anointed heroes of Ormershire visit us this evening. Now, I'll stop blabbing and let you all enjoy the... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, obviously this person is looking at me at this point. Does she have any sort of reaction? Like, I could see if she hadn't noticed me in the crowd, but obviously she's looking at the table.
Mm-hmm.
So does she have any kind of reaction? She's got to realize that we look alike.
She had spotted you before and seemed a little confused to see you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have missed that.
No, it's okay. I'll stop blabbing and I'll let you all enjoy the feast. Enjoy dinner. And she'll sit back down on her chair. At this point, the kitchen staff has populated side tables with food, and people are rising from their tables to go fill their plates. What are you doing?
Solace, what did you say that your sister's name was?
Sophie.
What, sorry?
Sophie.
Sophie. I thought so. This is Headmistress Sonvi. Similar is all I... Similar.
I think I'll take an opportunity to speak to her. I could not... It's very strange, but I think we all know that I have the ability to take on different faces, but why someone else might wear the same one? I don't... She just seems like she's not sure what to do or how to react. But she'll wait for an opportunity to go speak to this person, but probably not immediately.
It sounds like Klaus has also found his way to Ashenhurst.
Or word of him has spread, but we don't know.
She did say the kingdom after all. She didn't quite say this place in general.
If you find a chance to go speak with her, you should just bring someone as well. 2 sets of eyes, 2 sets of ears. Better than one. I don't mean me. I'm not the best at talking.
Perhaps when I could approach her alone without so many people around.
So people are settling back into their seats. These people seem largely familiar with this. They rise, they go to the buffet tables, they fill their plates and settle back in for dinner.
I wait until like 98% of the room has gotten food before I slowly get up to go pick out a few vegetarian options.
I go with Brynn. I wait for her to go, but not vegetarian.
We are holding ourselves very, very formal as we go, very tall, very stiff as we walk over, grab a few things.
And
then return to the table.
Yvonne is dressed in his nice wind tunic, the navy one with gold embroidery, because he wanted to make an impression, but he's also eating from his plate like he doesn't have to breathe between bites, and he literally does it. He's just inhaling it.
It's like the Kirby effect. He just opens his mouth and inhales.
Yeah.
Darby will go get food. They look like at any given moment, Darby looks like they could have just walked out of the forest, and this is no different. They don't carry themselves differently. They just go get the food, and they sit down and they eat.
Relm's gonna wait until pretty much like the buffet table is completely empty, pretty much. And then he's just gonna go, but he looks very stiff and awkward, and he's just wearing a plain black cloak like he usually does. And he's just gonna fill his plate like as fast as he can, and then go sit back down again.
Okay. So you take your plates and eat your dinners. Around you, gatherings of people are doing the same. Some of them eat relatively quickly and file out soon. It is about an hour that you are left alone to enjoy your meals. At the head of the table, near the front of the room, you can see Calder whispering to the headmistress and her right hand. But they are too far to make out what is being said.
Is there anybody's, like, eyes that are fixed on us? Like, I know that we've been getting glances here and there, but is there, like, somebody, like, super watching us right now?
Make a perception check.
I'll also be kind of paying attention.
All I'm perceiving is this food.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Vacuum sounds intensify.
I'm just kind of peeking at my food, and I keep glancing up at her.
17.
Okay.
24.
Okay. Whoa. Brynn, you notice as you glance around that you are getting looks now and then, but largely it's just curious. You are the new kids at school, and you come with this title already. You're the heroes of Ormbershire, and you know something. So you're getting a lot of curious glances, but you don't see anybody staring all so much. And in fact, as you start to glance around, they seem remiss to catch your eyes, like they know they probably shouldn't be staring. Solace, because you are glancing towards the head table, you notice that the large, dark-skinned man is frequently staring right at you.
Don't love that.
And it's the kind of stare that when he catches you peeking up, he holds your look.
I start eating, like I kind of push my plate away and I just look very uncomfortable.
In your head, you're going to hear, I know that you don't like this, but I didn't want to talk out loud. Are you all right?
So I can answer you back, right?
Yes.
She'll say that she doesn't particularly have anything against telepathy. She's not bothered about it like some of the others are. She kind of like chaotic feelings, not really clear words. So she's not all right, but basically is the gist.
She can respond. Like, she can talk back to me if she wants.
Yeah, I think it's just not super coherent. Like, it's kind of a jumble of words, but you basically get the message that she's not great.
If there's anything I can do to help soothe this, just let me know.
Come with me after dinner. Talk to them.
Of course.
It's at this point that you see the large man at the table get up, and he starts to walk around and step down into the main dining hall area, and he's walking right towards you.
I sort of shrink a little bit. I'm not feeling any of this.
I'm gonna get up like I want to go get more food, and then pretend I just noticed that my shoes untied, and just kind of stop in his path. He can go around me, but I'm just gonna stop right in his path.
When you stop in his path, he stops, and he's going to lower one large hand down to your head and pull back your hood.
Oh boy, that's just up in your business.
We've stopped eating at this point and have straightened up a little bit.
He says, "Stand up, boy."
I'll stand.
Well,
look at me.
I'll look at him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a history check. Or I'll give you intelligence.
Which one's better?
I'd want to roll, but I'm not familiar with any of this land.
Intelligence? That's the...
Like a straight intelligence roll, or if you have the advantage with history, you can do a history check.
Both are 0, so let's just roll.
So roll.
That's a 2.
Okay. You have no recognition of who this is, or why they are specifically fixated on you. It seems now that he does not care about who else was at your table. He is glowering down at you. And when he realizes you don't recognize him, he kind of goes, "Of course. Headmistress!" And he turns, and his hand is going to go and take you by the back of the neck. Do you resist?
Yes, I'm not gonna fight him, but I resist.
Okay, do a dexterity saving throw.
Saving throw. 12 plus 6, 18.
Okay, so he lets go of your hood, and you have that split second and manage just to move your upper body out of the way of his grab. So he instead just kind of closes his fist on empty air and looks down at you, kind of gives you a side eye, but continues and says, "I'm sure this party may call themselves heroes, but I know for a fact this one is little more than a thief." And those of the students that are still in the dining hall kind of hush down and are now paying very much attention to what's going on. "On the excursion you sent me to Ormershire at the height of the festival, he worked with a partner to try and steal from my stashes. They did not take anything important, but he tried to distract me while his partner stole. If we are to host them, we must be careful to keep an unflinching watch on them. They cannot be trusted."
Why in the world? And I stand up at this point. would we have accompanied Lord Calder if we could not be trusted? And you, I don't think, have the full story.
And then he'll turn to look at you, and without flinching says, "Then tell it."
I don't think you deserve it. You coming to make a show in front of all of these people. You could have come to us individually instead of calling this out like this. Do you have something to prove?
And given your rat time to fill his pockets with gold from our students, it is my job to protect them. I see a threat, I am reacting. Now sit down, madam, lest I decide you are one as well.
I refuse.
Headmistress, and he turns again, and you kind of see the spitting image of Solace just looking a little bit overwhelmed and a little tired.
I'm gonna walk over to Relm and take his hand.
Grip it really tight.
Listen, while I'm sure you have your reasons, I do have to agree that this is just a little bit, public, and, I don't think, even if this one is a thief, I don't know how much he can get away with, especially if you are keeping a watch on him. Why don't you guys come join me up here? And Starkiller can come too, and that way he can sit right with you and make sure that whatever happened to him doesn't happen again. Does that sound okay?
You're taking a breath. That is more than fair, headmistress. Thank you. And I'm going to...
It looks like I want to sink into my chair.
I'm going to offer my other hand of Solace.
I will take it reluctantly.
And I'm going to walk with all of the confidence to where she would like
my
us
children.
To sit. My children.
As you go to step around this massive man, he does not move and makes a point to be directly in front of Relm.
Relm's head's down, eyes down.
You very much have to move around him and give him a wide berth with all of your children in tow. What about Darby?
We just look at
Darby and Vaughn, who I imagine are just like eating food
just
and all.
Mouth wide open.
Darby had like a mouthful and hasn't chewed anything, and it's just like just swallows it.
Slow chewing.
I'll get
I
our
don't
plate.
I don't like
get on the plate
this.
and move him over.
Darby stands and like, it's just that like I hate this. I hate all of this. But they do not give the big man a wide berth. They will just walk past and side eye and keep going.
Oh yeah, Vaughn will like stop and look at the guys. You know, that could have been handled more smoothly, and then he'll just continue walking over.
It certainly could have been, but it was not, unfortunately. And here we are.
I'm going to lean over to Relm. I'm going to lean over to Relm and whisper. People of importance like that sometimes like to make a show, especially when they have lost something. So don't... Just know that we have your back. Or I do, at least. This is why I hate these places.
I don't wish to be here anymore.
We'll have dinner and we'll leave. It's fine. And I squeeze Solace's hand as
She squeezes it back. She
so
seems
gonna offer
you actually do have to pull her along a little bit.
Oh god, I wanted to gasp.
We are just gently glaring at Calder at this point.
So he is still seated at the headmistress's side, and he has sort of propped his chin up on his hands, and he's smiling. Looks positively tickled by all of this.
Sure he does.
We go where where did you want us to sit? Where are we sitting?
So
Beside her.
yes, you take new seats at the long table at the head of the room.
I do
And
so
there's
with pride.
space enough that you can all find seats on the same side. It does seem like more people are kind of filtering out at this point.
Yeah, that's a little awkward.
I will just stand
awkward.
and hover awkwardly, but I do not sit down.
I have zero issue. None.
I sit down,
people
but
like
I
this.
am I'm struggling to not stare at this other person and like to see if I see any real, because obviously she looks a lot like me, but I'm trying to place her, like if I see anything that might have been unique to my sister.
Okay. Make a perception check. With advantage.
And I'm just gonna.
We're
make a point.
twins.
Yep.
But not
Make a
that kind
point
of
to
twins. Let's see. Perception check. Ooh, what dice? This one? That is a 22.
Okay. So it's not necessarily anything you notice, it's what you don't notice. You grew up next to your sister and you're used to her little quirks, the way she holds her head, the way she tends to fidget or pick at her nails. This person isn't doing any of that. Although she looks and sounds very familiar, she doesn't have those kind of habits that you both developed together. She holds herself a little taller. She has pride in a way that doesn't quite line up with what you're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
This person carries themselves like a leader, and you are more used to seeing Sophie too free-spirited to really lead anybody. I'm really sorry about Starkiller. He's really good, I promise. He just cares about the school a lot, and Ashenhurst is... I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation behind everything. And she'll look at Relm. Could you explain? And at this point, that large man in red is stood on the other side of the table, just staring at Relm.
That's not creepy.
I don't recall what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. It's not the most helpful thing, but I'm sure we can work this out. Calder, do you know anything? And he goes, not a thing. This is great. Okay, well, are you thieves?
I give Calder a not so charitable look when I'm usually fairly tolerant of his quirks.
If I may,
If
there was an incident, yes, and he'll say that with a pointed look at Relm, but that incident is behind us through a remarkable judicial system there in Ormershire. It's come out a changed man, and they are no longer, or he is no longer up to the same unruly activities he once was, and you can have all of our words on that in this party.
I stare at Van like that's the direction you wanted to go in. That's what you're going for. Like, this is the choice you made. Like, I just kind of look over and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. What did I lie? It's honesty here.
Make a persuasion check.
Guidance.
Because gaslighting this guy is clearly not going in our favor. That'll be 13.
Oh, she hates it. Oh, she hates it for so many reasons. Okay. Are you a changed man, sir? Do you feel that you, don't need to steal anymore?
Headmistress, I promise you that I have zero intention of stealing anything from anyone in my stay here, or in the foreseeable future that I can think of. I am more of a sneak. I like to be unseen. I do not like to steal.
Oh, well, I guess you're feeling pretty seen right now.
Yes, this is a nightmare. I wish to not be here. I would crawl under this table if that would not be more obvious.
Well, I can take you to my office if that would be better.
I would prefer
Changing
that.
the subject might be better.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to change the subject, but you have to understand that I think the subject is gonna have to be talked about at least a little bit more.
Maybe dinner? Everyone's not watching. Also, I think there are other things we should discuss.
Yes, there certainly is. Well, I can wrap up. I wasn't very hungry anyways. If you want to follow me, I'll take you to my study and we can talk in private. And she's already kind of stacking all of her plates together. And Calder goes to stand and she goes, actually, I think it might be best if it was just the two of us and them. Just I don't mean it personally, but this is Ashenhurst affairs and not really any of your business. And Calder kind of laughs, but you can hear just a, all right then. If it's not my business, I guess I will find something that is. And he'll still get up and go walking away, his cloak kind of swishing behind him as he moves with purpose out of the room. Sorry about that. He's probably better off not being in the room with us.
Agreed for more than one reason.
Were you going to say he's harmless, or are you going to say he's harmful?
Well, I was gonna say he's harmless, but I don't think that's true, and I didn't want to mislead you.
No, it's okay. Most of us feel similarly at this point, I think. And I am glaring after Calder.
Well, if we're all good, you guys have eaten enough, right? If you want, you can take a plate with you. I know you guys were on the road for a while, and I'm sure you're hungry.
I've lost my appetite now, so whenever you'd like to go to your office.
I'm going to fix another plate.
I thought we were plate.
So she stands and kind of leads the way around the table, lets the two of you collect another plate, and then when she's sure she has all of your attention, she'll start to lead out of the room.
Relm's gonna start to put his hood up and then look at Starkiller and then just kind of lower it and look away.
Starkiller.
He was watching you as you did it, and when you went to pick up your hood, you saw his hand twitch.
Maybe that's why I stopped.
So he will end up at the back of the pack, following just behind the five of you as you are led down a new hallway that's unfamiliar, and at the end there is a more ornate looking door, a little bit, so just give me like 30 seconds. More ornate looking heavier door, and when she reaches it, she actually knocks first, and you see a bright little flash of pink sparkles climb up and back down the door before it creaks open on its own. And you enter the room, and it's a large, spacious study. God, fucking,
Yeah.
that took me out.
Yeah, that's very funny.
A large, spacious study made up with cherry woods and light rose coloring fabrics and upholstery. There is a fireplace that will kick to life as soon as she walks in, and she gestures to the couches for all of you to take a seat. And as you settle into your respective spots, we can take a quick break so people can pee and get drinks and shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't that'll take too long.
I'll be right back.
So I got an official closing date on the restaurant here, by the way, which is May 11th.
Ouch.
Like,
Any
real life
update
stuff,
from
yeah.
the new owners? Anything at all from the new people, or when is that meeting?
We haven't gotten the date for this week, but from the message that we did get today, it seems like they're only going to want to be closed for about 2 weeks after taking over. mean, that's assuming it is as late as the 11th.
Yeah. How it staff? I mean, I assume everybody else is trying to pay.
So I still trying to figure out what the move with that restaurant's gonna be. I ate a plate of Wild West shrimp from Longhorns to see if I still had a shellfish allergy, and I didn't die. So
I don't think that's look. Sometimes that's a very poor decision.
But
that was a very poor decision.
But it was cheaper than a doctor, and I got a plate of shrimp.
It was only cheaper than a doctor because you didn't have to go to the hospital. If you had to go to the hospital, then it would have been the ER. I'm glad you didn't die.
Well,
but you should not.
Exactly allergic. I probably would have just like thrown up a few hours later.
Did you?
No.
Did your throat get all tingly?
No, nothing.
That's good. That's good. So it might not kill you to work at this restaurant.
Right, yeah, and I think it's just Bonefish Grill that I am allergic to.
Maybe they had some kind of spice or something.
I guess, like, anything I got from there, the shrimp, the scallops, like, oysters, anything there just made me sick 3 times in a row, so I thought it was shellfish.
Weird. Oh, yeah. That is really weird.
Can I ask where you said your mic's off to the side there?
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here.
Out of curiosity, would it like benefit you to kind of like put it here, like in front of you?
I shouldn't have any. I mean, like I haven't had an issue with my sound. I can if it's quiet, I can see if it's just that I need to turn it up in Discord.
It's like normally like your normal voice is fine, but like when you go Solace and you get too low,
it's very hard to hear.
It's very hard to hear. So I don't know if it's like, I'm not an audio person, but maybe like your gain can pick it up from a distance more.
Oh, I'd probably just need to do that. Does that help?
I mean, you talk as Solace. That'll help.
I don't know if I can do that command.
We'll just wait and see.
Trouble. Yeah, I haven't had any trouble. To answer your question, there isn't a way for me to, because it's on an arm, so there's no way for me to have it, like, yeah, like, here, I'll take a picture of my setup, so you can kind of see what I'm working with. Because it's, like, where my monitor is.
Yeah.
Zoom out.
Still laughing. That time you think he's going towards your friend, so you get him to be a nuisance. Nope.
Very awkward.
So are we all back? I didn't actually look.
Close enough. I think Ethan's there. Just talking.
I'm around.
Yeah. Okay.
He's lying on the floor. Maybe.
He's probably painting his toenails. Realize there's so much out of context stuff in this picture that it's hard to like you can see where things are, but like trying to figure out what is on my desk.
I thought your dice tray was an ashtray. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, they're just I really just smoke a lot when you guys aren't looking. Only when I wait for everyone to be looking down.
You've filtered into the headmistress study, and it again is a room made largely up of cherry woods with accents of a gentle pink and roses to sort of feminize the room a little bit. You've all been seated around couches and lounge chairs with a fire raging just behind that feels warm but not too warm. The door shuts and Stalkiller takes his position right in front of it. He's effectively caging you all in.
Great.
I'm gonna lose.
But Sanvi goes to take a seat on the edge of a couch and puts her hands on her knees and kind of rubs her legs a little bit through her robe and says, okay, so first of all, welcome everybody. This is the Academy of Ashenhurst. I don't know how much you know about Ashenhurst or this place. What
How
do
much
you
do we know? Yeah, can I roll a history check?
You can roll a history check.
Oh yeah, we already discovered it. Oh, 17, even though it's +0. So 17.
So, it's actually not that far off from the monastery. It's probably about a week or so of steadfast travel, and you could be back to it. You know it to be a place where scholars go, researchers, and especially people that are trying to develop their magical ability. It's called an academy, but it's more of a hub, because not everyone here is students. But everyone here is either interested in magic or studying something, either for magical reasons or their own curiosity.
Shall we go about introductions?
Oh, right. Sorry. I am Sanvi. I am headmistress of the academy here. We don't really have a mayor. We're not really big enough for one, so it's me.
Right. My name is Brynn O'Shea.
Oh, an O'Shea.
Yes.
I didn't realize you guys were out this far, but I guess if Mr. Monahan is, anything's possible.
You could say that my mother sent me on a little voyage to learn.
Oh, well, I've got great news. This is probably one of the better spots to learn.
Of course. Pleasure.
And, the rest of you? I mean, I know Sophie, but what about the rest of you?
What?
What?
Sorry, you know Sophie?
Well, yeah, I, borrowed this face from her. Tell them about it.
You were mistaking me for my sister, I think. I was going to ask you why you favored.
Sorry. So I guess introductions are in order.
Yes, and then I would very much like to know where you saw her, because she's been missing for some time.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what I know. Your name?
Solace.
Okay. Solace, hi. So sorry about this. I must have not been using my head.
She just kind of like waits for her to keep going.
Well, so I met Sophie when she and Gerard were coming through here. They had something they needed to do, and Gerard was stopping to research some stuff, and then they were going to head out into the Wishing Woods, and I assumed that maybe you were just...
Who's Gerard?
Oh, a friend of your sister's, I think? You know what? Here, let me show you. And she'll sit up in her chair, and you watch as abruptly, it's almost like a ripple, her skin ripples out, and her hair becomes shorter, it gets lighter, she becomes taller, her frame becomes more masculine, and she's got a bit of stubble on his... a little stubble on a very lithe...
Beep, beep.
People. A very lithe, almost gaunt face. He wears a pair of very strange goggles on the top of his head that has a third lens in the center. He's still in a robe that might be a little bit too short for him now. It's now up to his knees, and you can see his little blonde leg hairs. And her voice changes too. This is Gerard.
Does anyone like would anyone in the party recognize?
I won't make you roll for it. None of you have seen this man before. They came through together, not probably about must have been like a month ago. She was kind of quiet, but when I did get her talking, she was very nice to me, and I guess now that I think about it, she mentioned missing family, and I borrowed her face to maybe cheer her up a bit, because she seemed a bit down.
I have reason to believe that she's being held against her will.
Oh. Well, now I feel a little weird.
It's not your fault. It sounds like you were kind to her. Gave her some pleasant moments. I'm sure she thought kindly of you for that. But
I hope so. I was kind to them both. Had I known it might have been an unkind situation, maybe I wouldn't have been. They stayed for a few days, and during that, Gerard was mostly in the library, and Sophie was mostly with him. They read a lot about seafaring and asked a bunch of questions about the King Casper and his horde. And then...
Yeah, we heard about it from Calder saying that to the north or something in the Wishing Woods, there was a tomb of a King Casper with lots of gold left behind and stuff. Gold and other mysterious things.
Yeah, it sounded like they were looking for something, but I never really figured out what they were looking for, and they went along their way and haven't really heard from them since.
May I ask what sort of creature you are?
Me?
Yes.
I'm mostly human, but I've always had the ability to change my shape when I need to. I've been doing it so long that I don't really remember what I used to look like. So whenever I meet someone that I remember, I like to look like them for a while.
Did you know that was not her or our troll form?
I didn't. She hadn't really spoken too much about it.
It's not something we typically would share, openly, but this is a strange situation.
Very much so. I'm sorry if I've caused you any discomfort with my ignorance. I should have carried myself better.
Glad, as were you wearing a different face, then I would have known to ask to, and I might not have how close we missed her.
Well, I'm sorry if there's anything I can do to help. You have all of my resources.
Thank you. I may wish to later have help with maybe seeing what books they examined. But for now, I suppose we do have other things to discuss as well.
Of course. Well, had I known the situation was what it was, I maybe would not have hurried to look like this, but I guess this will be me for the moment. What about the rest of you?
What about us?
The names, we didn't...
Yes.
Yes, I've met you, Brynn, and I've met Solace, not Sophie, and now there are some other people, maybe with some colorful pasts that may have to get discussed again at some point. I'm not rushing you. I'm just, don't want to forget about that.
My name is Von Millingbrew.
Oh, from the Millingbrew Inn.
You know it. You've been there.
Oh, well, no, I've not been, but I've heard people talk about it, and we get a lot of travelers through here, so I make it a point to pick everyone's brain and see where they went, and I remember specifically a beef stew. Somebody raved about it, and it's always just stuck out in my head.
Yes, that'd be my mother Erilyn's inn and her stew.
Well, now I think I have to go. I might make a trip of it. What are you doing so far from there?
We're on I'm on a pilgrimage, actually.
Oh. For what?
I've left the High Sanctuary in search of, well, answers.
Oh, is this like the graduation thing you guys do?
Essentially, yes.
Right, I've heard about that too. We've had a few monastery disciples come through in our time, and often they always seem to be looking for answers of some kind.
I would imagine that this would be one of the first stops for many.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I'm surprised you didn't come by sooner.
Some interesting events everywhere you look. I like to stop and see everything.
He was slightly detoured.
Well, I'm glad you're taking another one here. And, you, tall, pointy fellow.
I am Darby. Devogson. I am from Islington.
Oh. I mean, I can't say I'm terribly surprised. You have a very Islation air about you. I don't mean that as an insult. I find the people from there to be fascinating, very hardy, resilient.
Oh, you have to be, or you will get eaten by the wilderness, as they say. But yeah.
I mean, that's something I caution people for when they're going out into the wishing wood too. Not so much getting eaten, mind you, but it can be dangerous. So you need hardy folk to help get you through it.
I would agree. Yes.
Well, what brings you all to Ashenhurst, or was it just the good Lord called her?
It was
mostly
partly, but we
It
were told that this was a city of scholars, and we do have a few things that we would like to research / perhaps get some answers on.
Like what?
Well, while we were in Ormashire, they were facing a slight magical problem that we perhaps narrowed it down to an upset spirit.
Oh, so you exercised it?
No.
Oh?
Why are you laughing? Fun! Why are you laughing? Am I saying something wrong? Everyone is like...
No, it's just.
I'm laughing because you reacted like that. I wasn't laughing until you complained about people laughing, and then I
I
started.
was looking over at Vaughn, and he's laughing.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's just
Ethan's
something about
fault.
that exchange that sent me. You can ignore me.
I don't think she can.
Anyway,
That's the problem.
the good people were facing the undead terrorizing one of their events, and we were given the task of trying to figure out why, which led us to a Tomb of a Champion.
Oh, okay, hold that thought. And you see him lift up his hand, and again those pink sparkles kind of flitter out. He mutters in a language unfamiliar to you, all of you. And from a cupboard nearby, the doors fling open, and out fly parchment and a quill. And he'll take both in his hands and say, okay, so you went to a tomb for an undead spirit.
Many. Well, it seemed as if something was raising all of the dead from their graves, and this tomb seemed to be the focal point of it. Again, we don't have any solid answers, but it is what happened.
So if you didn't exorcise the spirit, how did you stop the undead?
I suppose we talked with the See, we're not entirely sure what was causing the undead until we faced a champion spirit.
A champion spirit? Which one?
Gonna look over at Vaughn.
The slighted champion of the sun god.
We think, but we're not sure.
We're sure that someone has taken something important from them.
It is a champion of the sun god. We're mostly certain about that.
A champion here?
Well, in Almashire.
No, I understand. I meant in this plane. You see, typically, most of the champions of the gods, many hundreds of years ago, all went to the divine plane with their mothers and fathers after the Great War. So it's unusual, but not unheard of, to find other champions of the gods that, didn't get brought into the fold, as it were.
Apparently, this particular champion has had something stolen from it, and it's very upset about it.
We've subdued them twice, so very much in this realm. Yes.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
You seem a little, at least, knowledgeable about this. I was wondering whether you would know if the champion went to the divine realm with their parent, as you said, would their constellation then appear in the sky?
Well, all of the more popular champions of the great ones all have constellations, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other champions that maybe just didn't get on the carriage to the divine plane.
And if they did not, they would not have a constellation, would they?
Well, I don't know. I'd be interested to do more research and find out if maybe somebody did get one later. I don't really know the ages of the constellations, but I could certainly learn about it. But there has been stories of gods picking champions throughout the years to represent their ambitions. Even the champions of the original ones eventually pick champions of their own. Once you go all divine and holy, you need somebody on the ground doing the divine and holy work in the mortal plane.
Throws me off from, the sweet little girl we were talking to. Vaughn, can you show her, please?
Try to...
You have it.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, okay. Then he'll pull out the rock.
Oh. That's a nice rock.
There is a big, angry champion lady inside of the rock, yes.
Oh, okay. So you contained a big champion. You don't know what it is exactly, but it's probably a champion in this rock.
She chose the rock. We didn't. No, I didn't put her in the rock. It was just she chose to be in the rock.
Someone else put her in the rock.
Oh, my apologies. You just looked at me, and I know I took the rock, so I just was... The fucking innocent sip on the straw.
Yeah, when Darby has a cup of ale just sipping, it was like, someone put her in the rock. We went into the tomb. We killed a bunch of undead. We fought her in the tomb, and then she was in the rock, and then Brynn took the rock, and then we went out into the city, and then she attacked the city, and then we fought her again, and she went back into the rock, and now she's in the rock.
Well, she's calling people thieves, and we know that the sword was missing from her tomb.
Oh, so you're not the thieves for stealing her from the tomb.
We're missing some information here. Hold on. And I'm going to fill her in on the what happened at the ceremony and how she showed up and then she pointed out that somebody on the stage was a thief, and then I'm also going to tell her about what happened on the road, and then we're just trying to figure out how to help his spirit. I'm going to narrow that right down.
Do you talk about Klaus?
Do I what?
You talk about Klaus as well?
Yeah. He's involved, so
full story.
May as well.
Okay.
May as well. Full story's out there.
So they seem completely...
She was gonna ask afterwards, anyway.
Completely enamored by the story, and while they stop writing, and put their quill down. You notice after a second, both the quill and the parchment begin to hover again, and the quill resumes writing.
Just fill her in on the whole story.
He's watching you adamantly. Behind you at the door, you start to feel almost a sense, an aura of urgency and uncertainty from the large man that has been standing and listening to this.
Do we also notice this?
I'd say you'd all, like, he's not a stealthy person. So he just seems to be inflating a bit as the story unfolds.
We're side-eyeing around a bite of food.
I'm so firmly not looking at him.
Sorry, what now?
No, I'm not gonna do it. It's fine. Nothing. We're just side-eyeing him also. But I'm also gonna turn around and then I'm just gonna vocally ask him and be like, is there anything you'd like to add into this conversation?
And he kind of stands up a little straighter. I'd like to know, what were you trying to steal? And he looks directly at Relm.
I'm just not going to answer.
Where is your partner now?
I don't have a partner.
So then, where did they go? If you're not working together anymore, why? Where did they go?
Can you tell us who this person is that you think was partnered with Relm? What they look like, their name, anything about them? Why you assume they were together?
Because I saw them talking. And then this guy comes up and gets my attention. And next thing I know, my gold is missing and somebody was obviously rifling through my things.
If it makes you feel better, I lost money as well. We were also robbed.
Oh my gosh.
Could it not perhaps have been a misunderstanding? Our friend here is not, but he
what?
Certainly.
Yeah, you still cut
hasn't.
it out.
I don't know. Like I don't have a problem in any other platform. So yeah, I've been in Zoom. I've been in a couple other things like, but
I'm wondering if your sensitivity of Discord was too high.
I can turn it down in Discord and see if that fixes it because I'm maxed out. But basically she'll say, you know, how could you have been sure that because we've never seen Relm associate with anyone except us.
I'm a loner. So
he was also I also hired him to be my bodyguard to take me to Ormshire, and he wasn't working with anyone except for us.
So he was working for you when you were in Ormshire?
To get me to Ormshire.
Was he working for you when you were in Ormshire?
No, he was a friend after that.
Okay. So then why'd you do it?
Not
he
answering.
looks again at you, Relm.
Not answering.
No, you're just straight up not talking at all now.
Hold on. I was trying to figure out what.
You're also not talking.
I can't hear you at all now.
Needs to go the other way. The sensitivity needs to go the other way. All right. There. See how that does. Yeah.
Oh, you're very loud now.
Well, no, okay, I turned the sensitivity way up. I just wasn't the way the bar is. I couldn't tell which way.
Yeah.
Which, so if I get super loud, or if you guys can hear me on my keyboard now, let me know and I'll play.
So sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was talking about my sound. No, I haven't said anything in character since I said, you know, how can you be sure they were together? We've never known Relm to associate with anyone else.
Did Relm tell us that he didn't know? Like, he didn't know why he did it, / or he just didn't answer us?
That was a different thing.
No, it's the same thing.
Is it?
It's not.
Was that the one that you got caught for?
No, out of character. This was the one when Whiskey came up to us and was like, "Oh, be a distraction. You'll get something great." I was like, "Well, why?" And then they stole from all of us. The time you're thinking is when I heard a voice and I went and tried to rob a place and it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not saying any of that out loud, of course.
That's good. Awkward.
Yep.
Well, if you're not going to answer me, I'm going to assume you still can't be trusted. If you touch anything without express permission, I will not hesitate to put you out of commission. And he's still looking directly at Relm.
I don't. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we're understood, I'll let you carry on.
Just not answering.
So then he'll slink back and set his shoulder blades against the door again. Right, well, if we're all through with that, I'm sure it's been kind of an eventful day, or at least an eventful hour for a lot of you. You've given me a lot to think about, and if you give me some time, I can probably point you in the direction of some things that might help you in our library.
If you have the time.
I can make the time.
Gonna look over at Darby. Could we ask you to look at these drawings as well, to see if there's anything that you might be able to dig up on them?
And I will pull out the piece of paper with the drawing of the goat skull and the tree.
Did you draw these?
I did, yes.
Oh, they're quite nice. They'd make good tattoos. And he's looking over the drawings, kind of holding them up. And he goes, well, I can tell you off the cuff that this one, and he holds up the goat, this is typically a symbol for Ryotza. Although I have seen, oh god. What's his name? This is what's his name is me also trying to fucking bring.
Oh, judgment.
Right. I have seen it used to represent the apathy warrior before, and this one, the tree, well, that one for sure is Scroll Furiously.
Man, that's a unique name.
The apathy warrior?
Yes, the apathy warrior. And this one, he holds up the tree. I've seen this used to represent Vaisaki, and, well, in a much less nicer format, the tree has sometimes been used to represent the warrior of fear.
Did those warriors have names as well?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure I could dig up the names. I don't think Mobulok really cared much about naming his champions.
Sorry, what was that name you just said?
Mobulok?
Yeah.
We've heard this before. Can't remember where we've heard this, but I just looked past my notes in this.
So, just before. So, the goat is a symbol for...
It's a curse copulate. Sorry. Mobulok is considered he's allegedly a fifth deity, often means death. He's a cursed constellation kind of thing. I had a dream of him, or his constellation. These are warriors of Mobulok.
They could be. Or they could be the other ones. It depends on the context, I guess.
I suppose we should just wait to see if you could find anything. Is there anything that we could do to assist you?
Oh, no, I live for this stuff. I admittedly can't do the research for you, but I can certainly point you to the right sections.
That would be lovely.
No worries. You're here to learn, right? I'm happy to help you learn.
What time is it? Do we know what time it is? Is it like late night? Is it early morning?
It's getting towards like mid-evening. You've already had dinner. You've probably been sitting and chatting for a couple hours.
Perhaps in the morning we might be able to take you up on that then.
I'd give me a few more hours than the morning. I'd be happy to direct you to the library, but you might get a little bit lost.
Okay. Well,
just give me a day and I'll give you a list.
All right then.
Is there anything else I can maybe scrape off the top of my head for you?
There is one thing that I'd like some clarification on. You mentioned earlier that there might be a murderer on the loose. Did you mean when you said here, that they might be here in Ashenhurst?
Well, they could be. They could be anywhere within Galleon, and truth be told, they may not even be in Galleon anymore.
Fair enough.
Did seem quite adept in magical skill.
And that's what troubles me. Not so much that they're a talented magician. Those people are everywhere. But you see, when the Kingdom of Galleon encounters magical problems, sometimes Ashenhurst is less of a asset to the king and more of maybe the reason why. So I anticipate if they aren't already on the way, they'll be Kingsguard here soon.
Well, yeah.
None of you have any troubles with Kingsguard? And he does kind of cut his eyes towards Relm.
History check.
What do you say? I totally missed that one.
I'm hoping none of you have any problems with the Kingsguard?
No.
What were you history checking?
I was just making a joke about having to do a history check. Yeah, nope. Think we're good?
No, none of us have problems.
Good. I don't exactly know when they're gonna show up, but history has a way of repeating itself, and whenever there's a big magical threat, it's probably Ashenhurst's fault. It's fine.
Well, we have seen the individual for ourselves, and we do know quite a bit about the situation, so if they do bother you, feel free to come get us.
But did you see them?
I mean, in one form, perhaps they might be in a disguise. You're not wrong.
And that's the issue. And again, you'll see his skin ripple, and he takes on the appearance of Sophie again.
There are people here that can rather easily change what they look like, and truth be told, a lot of the students are actually masking their appearance. I mean, Galleon is a great place, and it's my home, and I will defend it until the day I die, but they're not always the most receptive to, things that are different.
Well, just in case, let me narrow it down to at least what we saw, and I'm going to cast Silent Image of Klaus. And he's just going to stand in the middle of the room as what I last saw him as.
Oh, wow. I've never seen him before in my life.
Well, this is just someone you could keep your eye out for in case he isn't wearing a disguise.
All right. Well, in that case, I hope he isn't.
And she'll look up towards where Starkiller is stood, and a look is exchanged. He nods.
Don't worry. If they look like that, and if they try and get in, well, if someone tries to get in looking like that, we'll know better.
I'll wave my fingers across and pluck a string along my side, and the image disappears.
While that's going on, I'm gonna look at Darby and cast Mind Link, and then look away so hopefully no one knows. And I'm going to. Darby, would you be willing to ask something for me? I don't feel comfortable asking myself.
Sure.
Would you ask whether the headmistress knows anything about when a person is hearing voices, perhaps?
Sure. Do you want me to specify?
Not anyone here.
Okay.
Please.
Well, if you're, there's nothing else I can do for you. I know you've had a long day.
This might be a weird question. Sir, and I look at the other guy, like, that is a rather unique name you have. Is there some meaning behind it?
As you ask, he looks to you, and he no longer seems to look quite as angry. His anger does seem solely reserved for Relm. But when you ask him a question, something about the way you ask, or maybe it's the way you look, or just the way you are, sort of softens his expression a bit. And he'll look to Sanvi again, who says,
Well, you know how I said that everybody kind of masks the way they look, and, you know, Galleon is not always the most receptive to people who are different. That goes for Starkiller too. He's actually from Monacal, and he grew up in an orcish settlement. And once he started demonstrating magical abilities and the connection to the gods, that's the name they gave him. They thought maybe he'd be a weapon.
I hope you don't take offense to my asking. I'm simply curious, as it's like.
No. It's totally okay to be curious. That's why we're all here. It's just, you know, he's not the most talkative guy.
So she smiles again, and it's like, she's still a little tentative, but it's almost like she's recovered a little bit. Like,
you look at too uncomfy. On the other hand,
is
out of character. Did Calder say he was from Monacal?
yes, he is the advisor to the Emperor.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
where is Monacal in relation to where we are? Like,
Probably a couple weeks to the east.
cool. Okay.
I am going to stand up, and I'm going to walk over to Mr. Starkiller?
Mr. Starkiller.
Mr. Starkiller? And I'm going to place one hand to my chest, and I'm going to take the side of my dress, and I'm going to curtsy, and I'm going to say, "Please forgive me for my earlier outburst. It was unladylike, and I am very sorry."
I'm fine with unladylike outbursts. In fact, I'm fine with most outbursts. But if anything comes to harm the students here, or anyone under our protection, I hold that person responsible to the highest degree.
As you should.
Then we're understood.
We are indeed. And I will straighten myself and go back to my little group.
Well, it's been a long day. If you guys want to turn in, I will get started on your on your homework, and I'm so excited to see how you guys do with it.
Before we go, Headmistress, could I ask you a question?
Of course. I love questions.
I'm just curious. I had a friend. This is my first time being in such a knowledgeable place. And this friend sometimes would hear voices that would try to convince them to do things. Maybe things that they themselves did not want to do.
Well, then we'd have to look into what the nature of the voices are. Is it a lot of voices? Is it one voice? What do they ask you to do? Because I can say there's a lot of things I don't want to do that I probably should. And I just need to know, like, is it a helpful voice? Is it an annoying voice? Is it a lot of different voices that tell you to do different things depending on the day?
It is a voice that maybe wants you to do things that you don't want to do because those things maybe are against your own beliefs or moral codes. Or
is it coherent?
Yes.
Okay.
Darby's just gonna hear a yes in his head.
So then we have to assume, in the case where that person just isn't, mentally struggling, that if it's a different voice that's coherent and telling you to do something, it's probably, whatever that something is, probably has its own agenda, and whether that's a deity or, a curse or maybe an angry spirit, it could be many things. We'd have to do more research, maybe some experiments too.
Oh, okay. That is a lot to consider. Thank you. I will think about it, and I might have more questions for you tomorrow.
Oh, for your friend, right?
For my friend, yes. I don't hear voices. Okay. Just have dreams. It's fine.
You tell your friend that I know sometimes it gets a little hard being away from, home where things are a little bit different than in the kingdoms. And sometimes, you have to adjust to like a culture shock, that it's okay to feel some doubt. And if they're hearing voices or a voice telling them to do bad things, maybe that's just a manifestation of their anxiety. And, it's okay to feel it. And, you should just tell them that it'll be okay.
To be
I will be
this is in character. Solace is like quietly giggling in the corner.
Darby on the back.
Darby is only looking at the headmistress at this point. I will be sure to pass that information along. And again, if I think of any more questions, I will be sure to ask you.
Of course.
Your friend has more questions.
Well, I encourage you to go away and think about your questions. Maybe write them down. Keep a list so that you don't forget. And maybe everybody should get some rest. Because, a tired mind is a dull mind, and we want to stay sharp.
Yes, we do. And
Lord,
right.
I feel like I've been caught.
Well, Starkiller, if you would just see them back to their dorm, I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have lots of research for you to do.
May I? No, I'm not going to ask.
You can ask whatever you like. But she is going to stand.
I'll stand too, but
also standing. Still.
I was going to ask if the grounds were open to be explored, but I don't want someone to think that I'm going to immediately stuff my pockets.
Well, I'm okay with you exploring. I don't know that our head of security would be quite as open to it. Why don't you just give us a little bit of time, and we'll come up with a compromise. So if you could just maybe stay put for the night?
I can do that.
Perfect. And come tomorrow, we'll discuss about just how much of a free rein we can give you, because you understand there's classes going on too, and we can't have you just wandering in. I'll try and point you to the right things in the library, and maybe you'll be able to learn stuff, on your own journey. But I just need some time.
Of course. Thank you again for your hospitality.
Oh, of course. Welcome to the academy. I'm so excited to see what we're gonna learn together. And Starkiller's going to open the door.
We will stand and make our way towards the door.
He starts to lead out. back across the hall, up the stairs, up the other set of stairs, and we'll guide you back to your dorms.
We let out a long sigh once we're alone.
Before Starkiller leaves, I'm going to just gently, like, as we pass by where they, I imagine, are posted by the door, we're just gonna say goodnight in Orc.
Oh.
Cute.
You say that, and there's a moment of visible confusion and maybe a little bit of a smile before he returns a very formal, have a wonderful evening. But to any of you that perhaps were in earshot, it just sounds like a bunch of snarling.
Well,
It's just some animals fighting outside the door. What's happening?
no, I think Darby's just asserting dominance.
Yeah, alright. It was a lot all in one evening.
I just can't believe I've run from one school of learning into another.
You and I both.
I never went to school.
I was forced into school.
I didn't really have school where I came from. We learned things. It's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
For the moment that we mention it, it looks stressful, like strained, fearful for a quick second, but she shows it, and then she does her best to recoup. But Solace, if we've learned about your sister and a direction that she's went, do you want to go towards these ruins? Perhaps that you will see her there? But it's been a month, I suppose.
Maybe we'll find some other sign. This could only be the first. There could be others.
Of course.
Perhaps they met along their journey. Or perhaps now that we have a name of the man she was with, perhaps we could ask Calder even, if he has heard of him.
Are you all aware that Calder is not what he seems?
Are any of us
Are any of us what we seem?
I just meant that he's also in disguise.
Oh, well.
What is his natural form?
And then I am once again going to cast Silent Image. And it will show of Calder in his centaur form? Centaur? So what are they? Satyr form. Considering I learned this back in Almoshire. Not that it's a big deal or anything along with it, but I just figured we all should know. Since we're a group.
I mean, it's good not to keep secrets.
I figure I might as well
around
start
it all
outing
the
mine.
That is one handsome devil.
I guess, but I don't trust him.
Nor do I.
Business on the devil.
Perhaps
Do you-
I was quick to trust him as well, simply because he had something in common with me.
Do you all think he knew we were going to get called out when we came here? And do you also think that he knew that we were expected to offer insight as the heroes of Armorshire?
I didn't think that was something he was going to announce. I didn't know that was something he was going to announce. I just figured we were dropping him off here, and that was that.
I would say no and yes. I don't see why he would have known about the incidents with Relm that was specified. But I would not be surprised at all if he just brought it up in passing that the heroes of Ormorshire came along just to see what would happen.
I suppose that would be his benefit, considering he would see something fun out of it, but I don't understand what announcing the heroes of Omashara with me really benefits him.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
I think perhaps we were brought here not so much as bodyguards, but as entertainment. But that is just how I feel.
I'm in
But
agreement.
on that note, I do also owe all of you an apology for my outburst during dinner. I have an issue with teachers calling people out in the midst of a public display like that.
I do not think you need to apologize. I kind of appreciated it.
Of course.
I do have some perhaps personal concerns about the Star Killer. But it's not anything that we have to worry about, really.
I think this is someone that we need to keep our eye on.
Yeah, I think that would be best.
What are your concerns?
They are from Mordecai in the east. The dreams that I have tell me to go east. They are also connected to the gods and magic, as I feel I am at times, and I am just worried.
Well,
Which is a shame, because aside from what he did to Relm, he doesn't seem so bad.
he does not, and I do appreciate his dedication to his work here. But I do not trust him. So we should probably keep our eyes on him, especially if he's going to continue to hound Relm like this.
It's not so much that I don't trust him. I think he is simply protecting his place and his people. I am more concerned that we might just find ourselves at odds at times, but...
Well, while we're here, shall we watch our steps then?
That would probably be for the best. And we should also maybe get our payment from Calder at our earliest convenience, because I cannot promise I will be cordial or kind to him for the next little bit.
And it shall be something we bring up in the morning.
Because you dislike that he took pleasure from that?
I don't mind being a bodyguard, and I don't mind when things go a little bit sideways, but I don't like feeling like I have been paraded around as a spectacle for someone, and that is how I feel right now.
I agree with you, Darby.
As well.
Kind of leaned over our bunk beds in this conversation like schoolgirls on a sleepover.
Yeah, we're all in our bunk beds, just like...
Yes.
Oh, God. That's great. Shall I open a box?
Isn't Darby like 8 feet tall? Do they even
Darby's...
fit in a bunk bed? Or like their feet hanging off?
They're only like 6'3" or 6'2".
Okay.
They're like an acceptable normal height. They're 6'2".
And acceptable.
And how tall is Calder? Out of curiosity. I mean, in his human form.
In his human form, he's probably about 6'5", 6'6".
And in
He
Satyr.
grows to a full 7-something in Satyr form.
Oh yeah, that silent image is still there. Whoops. Wait, how long does it last?
7.5
How long
feet.
does it last? How long does it last? Hold on. Wait.
Stupid, sexy Calder.
Stupid. Oh, it lasts 10 minutes. There you go.
Yeah, you could. It's like I picture it glowing, and it's like a nightlight. We can fall asleep to the image of Calder.
I can make him move. I can make him move.
make him do a little dance.
I'm gonna make him do a little like dance to make myself feel better.
He dances.
I giggle.
Is there anything else you're doing with your evening?
I want to try to communicate with my sword.
Okay.
I want to try to communicate with my
I
goddess.
I figure I'm on the bunk underneath Darby, and I just like I'm laying there looking up, and I just hear. And I'm just like my eyes pop open.
It's always been you. I love you so much.
All right.
So I'm gonna cast Remove Curse. No, I'm kidding.
My wife. I'm just kidding.
What do you say to your sword?
Yeah.
I'm just sitting. I don't think I'm sitting. I'm just lying on my bunk bed with like the sword in my hands. Just kind of. I look like I'm being buried, I guess. But like, I just quietly say, it seems that we will be together for a little bit at least. And I think there are some things we should talk about. But first, hello, my name is Darby.
Okay. The sword seems inactive in your hands.
I understand that maybe you are angry, and I don't know why. I wish you would tell me why you are so angry. And you make me feel very angry sometimes as well, and that is okay, but I would really appreciate it if you did not make me feel that way about my friends ever.
The sword still feels like a sword in your hands.
I don't feel like we're really getting anywhere because you're being very quiet.
I love this.
Solace, like.
You know, this is only a one-way communication.
Can I roll a perception check to see if I can hear?
Sure. Roll a perception check.
Okay.
I feel like I'm the only one sharing here.
Oh, hold on.
A very one-sided friendship.
That is a 21.
So you can absolutely hear everything that your bunkmate is saying.
Sweet. I will never, ever mention it. I just want to, that moment where I'm just like laying there, like holding the sheet.
Friendship is a two-way road.
All right. Is there anything else?
It's not important at all, but I'm going to take a blanket and go sit by the window again and just stare out of it. That's it.
Okay. Relm takes a blanket and broods.
Yeah.
A moment.
Going to climb into, when I'm in my bed under my sheets, I'm going to hug my harp and just quietly pray before I go to sleep.
Okay.
I need some guidance. It's like in their head, it's like, I need some guidance. Please, where are you? Help me. And then I'll fall asleep.
Okay. Is Vaughn still conscious, or is he out?
Naked?
Out. Vaughn was the first one out.
Both. Yeah. Solace, like, when she finally falls asleep, she's, like, cuddling her skin like a security blanket. Like, curled up on her side.
My brain had to process that for a second.
She cuddles her skin.
With her skin.
Yeah, it's cuddling her skin.
Made it weird. Yeah, made it weird, sorry. Yeah,
No, it's fine. Then I clued in and I remembered, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Where is Solace? Like, does Solace wear her skin out in the open, or where is it when we're like traveling?
It just depends. A lot of times she wears it kind of like a shawl. Or like when they're in the carriage, she might have it over her knees. Sometimes she has it rolled up in her pack. Sometimes she has it rolled up and strapped to her pack. So there are a few different places.
Cute.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys would see it pretty regularly.
Basically, it's just a security blanket.
Yeah, you've never seen her not touching it. Like, if we go to dinner and we leave our backpack somewhere, she has her skin with her somewhere. She's wearing it or something. She never leaves it. Actually, you might notice distinctly she never leaves it unattended. If she goes to take a bath, she takes it with her. She is never is a moment where she's not within arm's reach.
Okay.
One last thing, when our sword doesn't talk to us, we'll just tuck it in to bed with us, I guess.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
a bedtime story.
And we will. I do want to read about my own goddess in my book before I go to sleep.
Okay.
That little snack.
Okay. But as you all complete your separate bedtime rituals and settle into a new place, processing everything you've learned and have yet to learn, you find sleep comes to take you all immediately and firmly. We will and we will pick this up next time as you all drift into a slumber.
Yay! That was such a cute session. Oh my god.
Except
So
for the
good.
part where Relm got dragged around.
No, it's cute. It's all cute. From top to bottom, totally cute.
Got it.
Totally cute.
He was
There's
just
been like
trying to
a
get
small theme
nuisance.
of redemption in these last 2 sessions for us from the Star Wars party transferring over. We didn't leave Nask out to dry this time.
No, we didn't.
It killed the
No.
bear cubs. We saved them.
We didn't, though. The
We
puppy-
We
the
didn't
puppy
though.
died.
We didn't save
We
the puppy.
saved a bear, though. We saved
Oh, you
a
did.
bear.
You saved a bear.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Saved a bear.
Well, I look forward
Alright.
to the next session. Oh god.
Well, we say puppies.
Kind of.
We killed the puppy. Realm killed the puppy.
No, nobody killed the puppy.
I think the puppy was just already unconscious, and then those silent rolls was it doing death saves, and it didn't make its death saves.
Realm
Killed the
killed
kitty.
himself because of that crack they all heard when he shot it in the mouth.
Yeah,
But
Alright.
that's just it. He's taking that to himself.
We will pick this up next time and explore
Yay.
all of these big feelings.
big feelings.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.